The most obsolete idea we still hear is this: go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, stay out of debt, and invest long-term in the stock market. But think about it. Why would you save money when governments are printing trillions out of thin air? The wealth gap between the 1% and 99% is bigger than ever. It's not just about money. You've got to zoom out and see the full picture. So what do? Inside every one of us, there's a poor person. That mindset still lives in me too. There's also a middle-class mindset, one that craves stability, a secure paycheck. And then there's the rich mindset. All three are in us. But here's the thing, it's not taught. We're trained to follow a path: school, job, paycheck. Not trained how to create wealth. If you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you'll know my rich dad never paid me. He believed a paycheck was one of the most dangerous traps. The second you depend on it, you're locked in as an employee. And that mindset, that's what limits people. So he refused to give me a paycheck. My poor dad, he worked for the government, thought that was crazy. You have to pay people, he'd say. But my rich dad wasn't anti-paycheck, he was anti-dependence. As an entrepreneur, if my business fails, I build another. I don't need a paycheck. I don't need permission. If my country doesn't value entrepreneurship, I'll go where it's wanted. Because being an entrepreneur isn't about owning a business. It's about a mindset, skill set, and playing by a different set of rules. Small businesses and big businesses don't follow the same rules. Employees and entrepreneurs operate on different principles, different thinking, different training. If someone asked me for advice before taking the leap into entrepreneurship, here's what I'd say. I remember my last paycheck. I'll never forget it. I was in Puerto Rico working at Xerox. My boss handed me a bonus check, about $30,000, taxable of course. I was excited and I was disturbed. A colleague named John came up and said, "You'll be back." I asked why. He said, "Because you'll fail." I looked at him and said, "You failed and came back. But even if I fail, I'm not coming back." That's the difference in mindset. If you're thinking, if I fail, I'll run back to safety, then guess what? You will. When I became an entrepreneur, I was broke. No money, no paycheck. But that's exactly what my rich dad wanted. Without a safety net, you get smarter, faster, hungrier. And that's when your character gets tested. Will you lie, cheat, and steal to survive? Or will you grow into someone better? That's the gift of entrepreneurship. You meet the real you. You have to look at the big picture. Most people only think, what's going to happen to me? But when you zoom out, you realize every crisis brings opportunity, if you're ready. If you think the next 20 years will look like the last 20, you're in for a shock. When you buy a carton of milk, you check the expiration date, but people never check the expiration date on their mindset. While others work hard to get out of debt, I learned how to use it. I just refinanced $300 million in debt, cut my interest from 5% to 2.5%. Now I'm earning more every month because the cost of money dropped. Financial experts say avoid debt. I say master it. When I came back from Vietnam in 1973, the first thing my rich dad told me was, go learn how to invest in real estate. It wasn't just about property. It was about using debt and taxes as tools. That's how the rich get richer. That's how the poor and middle class get crushed. Even high-income professionals like doctors and lawyers, they're making good money but taking home far less. One of my doctor friends just hit $1 million year. He was excited until he saw his tax bill, $750,000. That left him with about $250,000. So yeah, he earned $1 million. But what did he keep? That's not a bad thing, but when I earn $1 million, I keep $1 million. Why? Because I don't earn it by trading time for money. See, when you work for money, you're taxed the highest. That's why rule number 1 in Rich Dad, Poor Dad is, the rich don't work for money. What we do instead is build businesses. We acquire assets like real estate. I don't put my money in the stock market. As an entrepreneur, I control how much I earn and how much I keep. And because I invest in real estate strategically, I pay 0 in taxes. Let's say I make $1 million. I roll it into real estate and get a 4-to-1 loan from the bank. Now I control $4 million worth of property. That's why I love banks. Even if they're hurting others, they work well for me. When the government prints more money, That hurts savers. It hurts employees. But it helps those of us who understand debt. Debt and taxes make the rich richer. Debt and taxes make the poor and middle class poorer. Obsolete thinking creates obsolete results. And most people are stuck on outdated advice. Go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, buy a house, get out of debt, invest for the long term. But the game changed in 1971 when Nixon took us off the gold standard. Since then, money is debt. So what's the point of school if it doesn't teach you to master this new system? I'm not saying education doesn't matter. I'm saying it's become outdated. Technology evolves faster than schools. Moore's law says information doubles every 18 months. That means everything you learn becomes obsolete in less than 2 years. So people graduate already behind. I have friends who brag about going to Harvard 50 years ago. That's cute, but irrelevant today. Banks now charge you to save money. That's how much extra cash is floating around. We have bubbles everywhere. Stocks, real estate, crypto, because cash is trash. And still people say, I want a high-paying job, or I need to get out of debt. That's old thinking. The new mindset is learn to use debt and learn how the tax system works. The 1% don't get richer because they work harder. They get richer because they know how to play the game differently. When governments print money, two things happen: inflation and taxes. And that's crushing the average person. Now here's the truth about entrepreneurs. Most people think they'll start a business and get rich, but real entrepreneurs know it's not just about making money. There are 28 million small business owners in the US, but 24 million of them are solo, no employees. They're self-employed, not true entrepreneurs. And guess what? Self-employed people pay the highest taxes, but no one teaches them that. What we're really talking about is the entrepreneurial mindset. There's no such thing as a bad economy. There's only your personal economy. You've got two worlds, the external economy and your internal economy, and your wealth depends on which one you focus on. See, I don't care if the market's up or down. I'll still be rich because I've trained my inner economy to win in any condition. But a poor mindset only sees recession, hardship, fear. Middle-class mindset clings to safety. The job, the house, the paycheck. Take that away and their world collapses. But entrepreneurs, we never had jobs, so losing one doesn't affect us. This is what Buckminster Fuller taught me. There are always two sides. If you see the world collapsing, it's your inner world collapsing. If you believe in job security and there are no jobs, you panic. Internal economy versus external economy. Where you can control versus where you can't. A real entrepreneur, they focus inward. When they fall, they rise higher. They see every mistake as fuel. But someone with a fragile mindset, they fear failure so much, it becomes a reality. People afraid of losing their job usually do. So everything starts inside you. You want to build wealth? Start by taking control of your thoughts, emotions, and decisions. Because the moment you accept a paycheck, you've surrendered control. And that's the first battle every entrepreneur must win. It's not about money, it's about mindset.